Hey, this is Nicole Kelly, host of Disarming Disability. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
Hey, this is Lee.
And this is Chelsea.
And we are the host of your new favorite sales podcast, See Jane Sell.
Join us every Thursday for a new episode where we will tackle the realistic world of sales and maybe teach you a thing or two along the way.
You can subscribe to See Jane Sell on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Spotify. Thanks, and enjoy the following podcast on Public House Media.
Everyone, it's No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I'm sitting here with LaCroix. Thank God. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be sitting here in a robe with a glass of LaCroix and some liquid lipstick. I had such a busy day. It was ridiculous. I had to wear a bra and pants at the same time, like out in the world. It was awful. I had to get like a really quick like drive-by facial. And I had like just piles of work that I had to do, and I had to run around, and I had to get gas. Ugh, it was so hard. Oh, and here's the kicker. The worst part. Popped the trunk today to go stash some stuff in there from the grocery store. And I found $1,500 in molded shoes. My Manolos have mold on them, and I have to scrub it off. I'm like, whoo! Lord Jesus, help me. Hello, Alexa. Thanks for coming in. All right, so now that I've said that and I've gotten it off my chest, we're going to sit and have a second and have a breather, and we're going to share the broadcast because I want everybody to join in. Because, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, come over to No Filter Friday on Public House Media. Because that's all we do around here. Okay. All right. No, home. Back. Come on now, work with me here. Work with me here. I love how long it takes for Facebook to load. It makes me so happy. I can't even explain it to you. Okay. Taking a second to share the broadcast, because if there's anyone that's share worthy, it's this show. Share on your timeline. It's giveaway time. 44 million. Okay. Hashtag. Come on, hashtag. Okay. Post. All right, let's hope that posted how it's supposed to, because we've had, yes, perfect. Okay. I've had weeks before where it didn't want to like post how I needed it to. It was so not cool. And really, honestly, like I can't mentally handle that today. I had to wear a bra and pants at the same time, and it was excruciating. I hated it. Oh, it was awful. I don't know how people do that every day. It was so hard. It was so hard. So if you're just coming in, take a second and share the broadcast, because we want the people that entered the giveaway and the winner to get extra love. We all want love, right? Everyone wants love. I like LaCroix. Love LaCroix. Basically the same thing. If your water doesn't sparkle, like what does it even do? You know? So, things we're going to get into on the show. We had a very, very, very quick turnaround giveaway. You may have seen, I don't know, plastered all over social media, that I am giving away 3 Cherie Cosmetics liquid lipsticks in the color Imperial, Shannon's Secret, and Adeline is the name of the colors. And I met these guys at Rachel McCord's photo shoot I don't know, probably like a year ago now. And I thought they were super cool and awesome. And then I found out that they had this legal drama with the Kardashians because Kylie Jenner stole one of their like names of their colors that's been like trademarked and copyrighted. So they're having this like huge lawsuit over it, and it's kind of messy. So that's kind of some tea about that. But anyway, as of Wednesday, I started posting for people to enter the giveaway, which you may or may not have seen, which was it's a loop gift. So follow Cherie Cosmetics, obviously, Public House Media, and me, and that would enter these folks into the giveaway, which we're going to get to here fairly shortly. So, as they always do, oh, hello, Brittany, thanks for coming in. Brittany's been, like, on the trigger, like, ready for the show to start, because I was, like, 10 minutes late. Because matte lipstick, like, takes a second to put on. You can't just, like, flap it like you can a lip gloss. Like, you have to sit there and make sure it's straight, because if you don't, you're going to sorely regret it, basically. So, I got really, really into liquid matte lipstick, or just matte lipstick in general, when I was doing my Smile Direct treatment, because if you put, like, regular lip gloss on, like stuff, you know, like this, like this is a Clinique chubby stick that I love, that I wear almost on every show. That if you wear like glosses, yes, you can bug you if you want, that's 100% accurate, Brittany. You can, and you do. You fully exercise that. But when I was wearing my Smile Direct aligners, if I wore like anything besides matte lipstick, lip gloss, whatever, it would end up like sliding all over my aligners, and it was so not a good look. So I got really into matte lipsticks and glosses, and I kind of kept it. Like they're so long wearing. This doesn't even feel like anything, honestly. Like it just feels like, it kind of feels like my lips feel like the same as if like when I got out of my facial today. Like they're not dry, but they're also not glossy. Like it kind of has a naked feel, really. So we'll get to that later in the show. However, the hashtag #MeTooGods have smiled upon us, as they usually do on this show, which is really awesome. As of yesterday, the New York Times announced that Harvey Weinstein is said to reach a $44 million deal to settle lawsuits. So here's old Harvey Weinstein and the New York Times. So the idea is that they reached this $44 million deal because some of the people that have issues with him, we'll say, they're outside of their statutes of limitations, or it's more of a sexual misconduct, not necessarily a criminal thing, but they're still like going after him civilly, basically, which you can. Situations of crimes, torts of a sexual nature, sexual wrongdoing, you can go for civilly as well as criminally. And a lot of people, and there's like 4 people that are on the criminal side of it in the state of New York, and then there's another batch of people on the civil side of it. So the idea is that he's settling with the people on the civil side of these lawsuits. It says Harvey Weinstein and his former studio board members have reached a tentative $44 million deal to resolve lawsuits filed by women who accused him of sexual misconduct and by the state of New York, the New York State Attorney General, according to 3 people briefed on the matter. Here's the weird thing. Nobody would like return a comment for this stuff. So it's like kind of hard to see what was going on. The outcome of the settlement talks will be especially notable because the lawsuits are one of the main avenues by which Mr. Weinstein could be held responsible for his alleged allegations. They're saying alleged because they've been in the press, you have to. He is facing criminal charges in New York for allegations of sexual violence against 2 women. We all know this on No Filter Friday because we talk about it constantly. We've had probably like 5 or 6 Harvey Weinstein episodes during the course of the show, and we've been doing it for a year and a half. We're actually coming up on our 75th show, if you can believe it. But more than 80 women have accused him of wrongdoing, and many of those complaints involve sexual harassment, which by and large is civil. Which is a civil violation and a criminal one. So the details of any settlement, such as whether it includes an admission of wrongdoing by Mr. Weinstein, would carry significant symbolism. He's never going to admit guilt in this. He's going to ride or die for consensual. It was consensual until the end, probably past the end. The proposed sum is less than half of what initially discussed as victims' fund as part of conversations last year between an investigator that was interested in buying assets of the Weinstein Company and Eric T. Snyderman, who was then New York's Attorney General. That proposed deal, which fell apart at the last minute, including a victims fund worth up to $90 million. Under the proposed terms of the new deal, about $30 million would go to a pool of plaintiffs that includes alleged victims, creditors of Mr. Weinstein's former studio, and some former employees. Surprise, surprise. According to the people briefed on the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because the agreement was private, as most settlements are. Most of the time, people aren't allowed to go like blabbing what their settlement was. Yet, the press gets a hold of stuff like this. I don't know. The rules are weird. Here's the kicker and the part that I don't really like. Insurance policies would cover the $44 million if the current agreement is finalized. So, yes, he is settling for $44 million in quotations, but the insurer of the Weinstein Company is who's paying this out, which is insane. Like, I don't know who on earth, they say Lloyd's of London will insure anything. I don't know why they would take a bet on Harvey Weinstein, though. I can't, for the life of me, understand why anyone would issue liability insurance to Harvey Weinstein or the Weinstein Company in general. Everybody knows what he's been up to. That's crazy. That's a bad deal. Obviously, there's no way that they paid $44 million in premiums to this insurance company. That's crazy. Mr. Weinstein did not return calls for comment. Obvi. State spokesman for the Office of the New York State's Attorney General declined to comment. Obvi. A lawyer for the plaintiffs did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Wall Street Journal was first to report the tentative deal. Mr. Weinstein was long one of those Hollywood most powerful figures known for backing up boundary-breaking films like Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love. You all know this. I don't need to read that to you. Yada, yada, yada. They filed for bankruptcy in March of 2018 because the Weinstein Company, because of these shenanigans revolving around Harvey. And apparently had less than $500,000 in cash at the time, was facing a mountain of debt and swelling number of lawsuits, including one by New York Attorney General's Lawyers for Women, who say they were victims of Mr. Weinstein and have been in mediation since last year with representatives from the former studio mogul. Also involved in the talks were lawyers for the former board members in the New York Attorney General's office, which last year sued Mr. Weinstein and his brother Bob for violating state and city laws barring gender discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and coercion. The goal was to reach a settlement that would cover all of the suits pending against the former Hollywood mogul, his now defunct movie studio, and associates. That's where the things get kind of hairy canary on this case, is because what Alexa Polar, did you see what Ashley Judd tweeted? Something along the lines that she will not settle with him. She wants him to go to trial. Yeah, I did see that. I mean, he's still going to have to go to trial. I'm not totally, she wasn't particularly clear about it though. Like Ashley Judd that says that she wants him to go to trial, as we all do, and he will, for these two women in New York that have a criminal case against him, but like the civil suits, like they could go to trial, but it's gonna, I know that like sounds good or whatever. It's like, yay, get our justice, get our day in court or whatever. But honestly, like all that's going to do as far as like from a victim standpoint is it's going to rack up attorney fees. So if they can just send, you know, their representatives to a few days of mediation and then come to an agreement that the Weinstein Company's insurer is going to pay out $44 million into an account, bing, bing, boom. From a victim standpoint, that's a way better deal than sitting around waiting for a judge and hoping a judge or a jury will make a ruling in their favor and then collecting on that judgment. Like that stuff takes a long time, and again, like he's never going to admit wrongdoing. So, and it's just going to pile up attorney fees because like, yeah, $44 million is going to go into a collective pot. 30 million of which is going to be for, you know, survivors, benefits, whatever. So whatever they get divvied out individually, their own attorneys are going to take 30 to 40% of, if not more, depending on their deals. So it sounds fun to go to trial, and it is, especially when you're the winning party. It is super fun, but it's like a really, really long time, and then you have to collect on stuff, and it's a whole thing, and really too, like lawyers have to represent these people, so it just makes the lawyers more money. Like it doesn't necessarily benefit the victims in that way. Like, of course, Ashley Judd can say something like that because she's got her money. She's fine. She's got, a long stream of films behind her. But people that just like worked in the office of Weinstein or Miramax or Dimension or were like third-party vendors or whatever to any of those companies, like they probably don't have that, and they need their settlements, and they need this to be out of their lives. That's another thing. Like these people that are, suing him civilly, trying to hold him responsible, like they had to deal with him and his trash dick that he's always trying to push on people. And like the lawsuit on top of it, like if you can just, whatever they can do to get it to be resolved is in their best interest. So, if Ashley Judd wants to keep the party going, to keep press on herself, like that's her business. But unless she's taking a cut of these lawyers' fees, like it doesn't really behoove anybody to do that. And again, the insurance payout's just going to go dink like that. It's just going to be the matter of a wire transfer, a good old-fashioned bank wire transfer, whereas like going after somebody, anyone, for a judgment, let alone Harvey Weinstein, like he could take until the end of time to pay that. Like it doesn't, and then like, interest on fees and stuff like that racks up. It's a mess, dude. It's a mess. Oh, Erin came in. Hello, Erin. Okay, so anyway, so to get Weinstein's company's bankruptcy tied up, they have to figure out what kind of liability they had on the books so they could sell. I don't know why this didn't come up a year ago. That's what's crazy to me. Like, we didn't, because somebody almost bought, 3 different parties almost bought Weinstein Company or whatever, was left, scraps left on the bones of the carcass of it, 3 times, and they all fell through. So we didn't have this liability debt conversation back then. Seems strange to me. Okay, so anyway, separate bankruptcy filing on May 15th described mediation process as highly adversarial and said that at least 11 separate sessions had been held over a year. Harvey Weinstein, 67, has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges in New York. We know that. That's what they all say. As a matter of fact, they all keep kicking out the same speech. Is Weinstein paying to just get out of it? No, he can't pay to get out of all of it. The criminal stuff doesn't matter. That's the state of New York pursuing that. And you can't, once the state gets their teeth into something, they're not finished until they're finished. And a judge makes a ruling in either direction. He was initially indicated in the state Supreme Court in Manhattan on sex crime charges involving 3 women, including one who said that Mr. Weinstein raped her inside a hotel room at a DoubleTree in Midtown Manhattan. Oh, and it wasn't even a good hotel. Gross. Gross. The woman has not been identified in court papers. She wouldn't. It's a sex crime. Almost nobody does. He was also charged with forcing 2 other women to engage in oral sex with him. Lucia Evans, a marketing executive, said she was assaulted in his Tribeca office in 2004. And Mimi Haley, a production assistant, said Mr. Weinstein assaulted her at his apartment. Despite the charge related to Miss Evans, after the Manhattan district attorneys acknowledged that the lead detective on the case, Nicholas DeGaudio, did not disclose information from a witness who said Miss Evans had provided a conflicting account of the alleged assault. This is where stuff gets a little suspect in here with concerning this detective. I don't know, probably 3 or 4 Harvey Weinstein episodes ago, we had a discussion about one of the girls turning in her cell phone, like turning over her cell phone to the prosecution as evidence. And it wasn't really handled 100% correctly by the New York police. So it ended up really, really crumpling the case up. So this detective has since resigned and has maintained that because they're saying, the prosecution said that he didn't tell them X, Y, and Z about this witness, but he says that he did, but he has resigned as a detective, so I guess it's not his problem anymore. Anyway, Mr. Weinstein has denied the allegations and said those relationships were consensual. For the 50th time, the beating of the dead horse. Earlier this year, Mr. Weinstein also replaced his longtime defense lawyer, Benjamin Braffin, with a new dream team of lawyers. OJ had a dream team. We all know what happened to OJ. Representing celebrity clients. His criminal trial is expected to begin September 9th. September 9th. Maybe we should plan our No Filter Fridays around September 9th. That might be a thing. I'm going to have to work on that. Soon after Mr. Weinstein built his new defense team, one of his star lawyers, Ronald S. Sullivan Jr., a law professor and faculty dean of an undergraduate house at Harvard University, came under fire by students, therefore representing the Hollywood producer. This month, Harvard decided to end Mr. Sullivan's term as dean. Oh, man, he lost his job. On June 30th, following months of pressure from students, later Mr. Sullivan withdrew from Mr. Weinstein's defense team. Oh, man, he didn't get either. That's gnarly. I don't know how I feel about that, but I feel like the last people that should be complaining about who somebody's representing as a lawyer is law students, because if they think that they're not going to have to represent people like Harvey Weinstein, they're out of their minds. So, good old Harvey is on the hook for $44 million. And it's more like saying the Weinstein Company and liability insurance is on the hook for $44 million, but at least those people will get some restitution, in some way, shape, or form, because he has to be held accountable for his actions. And furthermore, even though it is sucky that Harvey himself doesn't have to pay this $44 million, at least it kind of catches up Bob on it, because Bob is not the same as Harvey. I'm not going to say that. But this was a family affair. And Bob has kind of gotten away scot-free, basically. Like, personally, anyway. The Weinstein Company hasn't, but if they wanted to hedge their bets against that, they shouldn't have wrote their employment contracts with Harvey and Bob stating that so long as they paid for their own defense, then they were not on the hook, like, accountability-wise for anything that they did, which is ridiculous. And that's the nail in the coffin to the Weinstein Company. Like, nobody could come back from that. Like, that's what, like, without that clause in their employment contracts, the Weinstein Company may have survived and just kept going without Harvey and Bob, and everybody would have rode off into the sunset happier than clams. But they knew what was going on, and they looked the other way, and they hedged their legal bets to keep that going. So the bright side is that some of the victims are actually going to, get some sort of restitution, and Harvey and the Weinstein Company and Bob, by extension, will kind of be held accountable in some way. So, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's a win for them regardless. It's a win for the lawyers because either way. So, without further ado, we're going to announce our giveaway for our Cherie Cosmetics matte liquid lipstick set. So I was really, really surprised about the reach of this giveaway. Like, I ended up with ladies from all over the place entering this situation. Let me look at some of my posts here. View insights. The top locations, according to Instagram, were England, Gauteng, the Western Cape of Africa, KwaZulu, and Auckland. So that was the Instagram. But then Twitter, I put out a video on Twitter for I put out a couple videos on Twitter for the giveaway, but the main video went all over the place. It's crazy. It got over 2,100 views. Let's look at the activity just for funsies. Look at the back, our behind the scenes Twitter here. Yeah, I did over 10,000 impressions all over the world, which is really, really, really cool. Look at this. Went crazy. And then I'm not totally sure what the Facebook numbers were. I didn't really look into that. But with all of that fun stuff, the winner was selected before we turned 8:30. That's why the show was kind of a little bit late. Brittany, is because I had to do the winner stuff because I had to make sure that the people that entered followed all three because that was the rules of the giveaway. And where is our lady? And our winner is on Instagram at Montgummy91. There's her profile. Everybody go visit her page. She seems to be a really big beauty buff. Because she has a bunch of these like posts on her page. And I think that's really cool. I think that people that are like giveaway, oh, here's another one, that are like into giveaways and like really participate, I think that's awesome. So, you don't call me out like that. You said that you could book me, and I said that you could, so you did. Yes, Alexa Polar, congrats to her. Yes, so I'm going to send her to Montgummy91. I'm going to send her a set of these Cherie Cosmetics liquid lipsticks, which is going to be awesome. Not these ones, like specifically, like fresh ones, like in the box that I haven't used, obviously, because that's disgusting. But yes, congrats to our new friend of the show, Mount Gummy 91 on Instagram. So that concludes our very eventful No Filter Friday. We gave away some liquid lick sticks, courtesy of Cherie Cosmetics, and check them out. They're a really interesting, cool cosmetics company, made in the U.S. And you know you're doing something right if any of the Kardashians or Jenners knocks your stuff off, or steals your artwork or your shade colors or any of that stuff, or just any sort of swag biting in general. So yeah, she does mostly lip products, and she makes some bomb eye palettes that are like very, very sparkly. So much zhuzh going on. So go check them out. Friend of the show. Them over the Kardashians. Totally. Absolutely. So that concludes this No Filter Friday and our giveaway, our first giveaway on No Filter Friday on Public House Media. Check out the podcast. If you're a podcast listener, share the show, or, give it a review or a star or a like or a comment or any of those things. And of course, drop by my Instagram too, because I think with as fun as this giveaway was, I think we should do more, because Lord knows I got so much stuff around here to give away. You can have all of it. All of it, all of it, all of it. So drop by my Instagram at Rachel Ann Mullins, and we will hopefully do more giveaways. Hopefully Harvey Weinstein will be even more accountable for his wrongdoing, and we'll give away more things on No Filter Friday. Like win-win, right? Unless you're Harvey, basically. Okay, so I will see you all next week. As usual, Lord only knows what's going to happen between now and next week. The Me Too gods just keep raining tea down on us, and it's beautiful. See you later, kids.